The domestic football season is less than a month old. England are playing Germany in a crucial World Cup qualifier. Spirits are high among the English fans, and the atmosphere is good-humoured. By the day of the game, 10,000 English fans will descend on Munich. England-Germany is a fixture which, more than any other, has the potential for hooligan violence. There are 800 German police officers on duty. And the media want to know what's being done to combat the troublemakers. The English police in Germany make the customary reassuring noises.
There are 537 fans banned from travelling to Germany. There's an operation ongoing in the UK now at all ports, airports and seaports. We are not concerned about large numbers of hooligans coming across.
And these are the people that the media, the police and the British government are so concerned about. England fans, drawn from football clubs across the country, most with no intention other than having a drink and following the national team. But somewhere amongst them will be the hardcore hooligans. Using hidden cameras, we've spent the season finding out who they are, where they come from, and what happens away from the gaze of the media. It's clear straight away that police attempts to keep the troublemakers out of Germany have not been wholly successful. This is Glenn Ford from Burnley. At the European Championships in Belgium 2 years ago, Ford was one of the first of more than 900 England fans arrested. Nothing has been done to stop him coming to Munich. Around the corner, the first signs of trouble.
Was hier gerade passiert ist?
Wissen Sie was? Ich weiß nicht, was da passiert. Ich war in der Küche, woher wir rausgekommen. Da hat geflogen die Tische, Stühle, Gläser, alles.
This is Anthony McCallion from Blackburn. He was also arrested and deported from Euro 2000 in Brussels. 2.5 hours before kick-off, and hundreds of English supporters have gathered outside the Schiller Cafe. The atmosphere has changed. By now it's clear that hooligan gangs, or firms, from clubs all over the country are here. German fans cheering their team is the only provocation the English need. In the midst of the mayhem are other known hooligans. This is Lenny from Wolverhampton. He's another veteran of Euro 2000. After 20 minutes, the German police appear to have the situation here under control. The authorities played down the extent of the violence.
If you look at the history of that fixture, you know, the tense atmosphere built up around it, by and large, I think one would agree that England supporters were, in the main, well behaved, and the German authorities were quick to praise the England fans. And I think, you know, violence was at a minimum in what could have been a very unpleasant and very difficult situation.
But away from the media and the public gaze, hidden cameras record the wanton vandalism and fighting that was to continue throughout the day. For the hooligans, it's turning out to be a fun afternoon. This is Carl, a Birmingham City supporter who was at the heart of the trouble outside the Schiller Cafe.
Yeah, I saw you loving a bottle.
Me? Would I do something like that? It's a full bottles as well. It's like German cunt money. It's good though, isn't it? It's what you want. Like I said before, like, now you know what Millwall feel like. Everybody fucking hates them. Wherever you go, there's a police presence.
That's right, yeah.
You can't beat this. It's just fucking mad.
It is, yeah.
And that George, is that Georgie fucking laying into him at the end?
Oh, the guy,
no, he's going, he's going fucking, he's drunk as well, like, he's fucking laying into him and everything.
For all the violence, the German police have made hardly any arrests.
Oi, oi! How the fuck you making arrest now? Do not know. You laid some good punches, you did.
Are you Lincoln?
Nah, well, with the Lincoln lads, but I'm Birmingham. But yeah.
Righto, driver, righto. Remember, no surrender to German bastards.
Both Stuart from Newcastle and Carl were involved in the trouble, but they aren't top boys, so-called Category C football hooligans who orchestrate the violence. Lenny is. We can't show his face for legal reasons, but he's a leading figure in a hooligan firm, the Wolves Subway Army.
I want you to fucking do the old film, you know what I mean? Fucking hate him. I didn't know I fucking hate him. I was in the street on my own shouting, go on, fucking do it.
Yeah, and you was like going off your head on it, and I saw you, man, you were up there.
Fucking do me, fucking do it.
I want the German.
I want anybody.
You're not Blues, are you? You Blues?
Wolves, mate.
Wolves, right, cool.
What's its name, skinhead?
This is Stephen Powner, another Wolves supporter.
Thompson. Come to Dante with us.
We would meet Lenny and his firm again during the season.
Do you think there's going to be any more echo later?
Yeah, all day.
Lenny's prediction seems to be accurate. In this kind of atmosphere, the usual banter between drunken fans rapidly descends into violence. The trouble spills out into Munich's main shopping street. Half a mile away, another group of English hooligans try to get to the Germans. Some unlikely ringleaders emerge.
Don't let the man get nicked just like that. Look, he ain't got no fight or nothing, is he? Come on, let's go for it. Come on.
The England fans finally make their way towards the Olympic Stadium for the match. But the trouble's not over. A hidden camera reveals some of the most vicious fighting at the underground station next to the stadium.
The game starts here in Munich, England's first match in Germany since the championships of '88.
The Football Association refused us permission to show any of the action from the match. They want to present a clean image of English football. In the pre-match editions of the newspapers, the hooligans had grabbed the headlines.
Heads it away, second time.
But for once, events on the pitch were about to sweep aside any talk of violence.
Heskey's running through the middle. Scores to Heskey's onside. Heskey into the penalty area. Another goal for England. Get this scoreline. Germany 1, England 5.
It's usually only when England play abroad that we hear about football violence. There is a perception that in domestic football, the authorities have managed to stamp out the hooliganism of the 70s and 80s.
At the end of the 1980s, they said, "We have won." They actually used those words, "We have won, we have beaten football violence." They hadn't. there was a lull. The reason why there was a lull in football violence was because most of the top boys throughout the country were getting loved up on ecstasy pills and going to acid house clubs. Then the ecstasy went poor, they got bored of it, they went back to football violence. It's only ever a lull.
It's a lot more widespread than the general public realise. They might hear of 1 or 2 big incidents a year, but this thing happens week in, week out at different grounds all over the country. And it's like making a resurgence. Went through a stage of where it was down to like little 40s and 50s arranging to meet each other, and it was smaller but more organised. Now it seems to be getting back up to big firms again. Bigger numbers coming out, more people getting involved.
Hooligan groups are attached to nearly every football club. I find it a little bit difficult to say or name a football club which hadn't got a hooligan group of some sort. Something like Notts County would have a very tiny one. Other clubs would have a big one.
The new Den, home of Millwall Football Club. It's 6 hours before the First Division game against Nottingham Forest. Nearby, more than 200 police officers meet in a school hall for their pre-match briefing. They are expecting up to 2,000 Nottingham supporters to travel to South London for this high-profile fixture. Earlier in the day, a group of Nottingham Forest supporters boarded the 8:34 train to London. They are not part of any official supporters club, nor do they wear the colours of their team. They will arrive in London hours before most of the other fans. Using hidden cameras, we were to follow them.
Right, what we have today is Millwall and Nottingham Forest. The clubs haven't really played each other for a number of years, but in the past there has been some feeling between them and some instances of disorder. We anticipate, again, there could be disorder today. There are a number of fans coming down by train. Because of the intelligence for this event, dress will be public order kit. Be aware of that at all times, please.
The operation is costing more than £50,000, and officers have been drafted in from as far away as Kingston in Surrey. The train from Nottingham has arrived in London. Police intelligence suggests that in this group are known troublemakers, so the whole group is soon found and escorted by police officers. It's 4 hours before kick-off, and the pubs are opening.
We used to get up as early as possible, get to their city, find a bar, plot up in there, and just wait to see what happened. I mean, at the end of the day, if you go into an away game, the onus is on them. It's their town, it's their bars, it's their pitch.
Identifying who the troublemakers are and second-guessing what hooligans from the two clubs will do is the job of Millwall's football liaison officer.
Millwall generally will meet here at London Bridge. The 8:30 train from Nottingham brought about 100 or so Nottingham hooligans down on it. The main risk is if Nottingham and the Millwall supporters get together and we don't have sufficient officers to keep them apart. The problem we have is actually finding them and getting officers to them before the two groups get together.
But the police have become a lot better over the years, and they've realised it's small, contained units of hooligans rather than, you know, the mass mobs of 200-300 supporters, which it was in the 70s and 80s, where everybody with a scarf, hat, anything would just have pitched battles. Now it's run more along military lines.
The mobile phone is the weapon of choice in the battle of wits with the police. These Forest fans seem anxious to shake off their police escort and join up with another group from Nottingham who are drinking in the West End.
got about 6 shots on into the It don't matter, does it? Well, you name a pub, we'll come to you. We've got to get out of here before we get out. I really get to somewhere else. I'm going to get in a taxi. I'm going to do a taxi.
This is Gary Clark, who has since been banned from attending England matches abroad, but not domestic games.
There's 2 bombs well on Common Garden, and the old Bill's 1 bomb. So what do you want to do? Common Garden's is probably a long way from South London, though, isn't it?
As the Forest group decide on their tactics for the day, Neil McPherson is trying to find out where the Millwall hooligan firm is meeting.
It's up to you. I mean, is Bermondsey pretty quiet? Yeah. London Bridge is dead. I mean, whatever you think best, Joe. Have a look at it if you want. But I've heard Surrey Quays mentioned a couple of times, so it could be they're meeting over there.
By 1:30, there are around 130 Forest fans in Covent Garden. They have singularly failed to shake off the police and are heading towards South London.
My concern at the moment is if there's Millwall up at Surrey Quays. Yeah. If they jump on, there's a couple of pubs they're using there, but they're right outside the tube station. If they stay on at London Bridge, then they'll go to Canada Water and then Surrey Quays. Yeah. If they go straight past London Bridge, I'll let you know.
The police can't force the fans to go anywhere. All they can do is follow, watch, and wait.
We are hoping that they get off here at London Bridge. There's no Millwall supporters at London Bridge at the moment, so we're hoping they get off here and go to the ground. Or go for a drink, obviously, if that's what they want to do.
Hey, Bob, halfway, it was weird,
They're coming up. For your information, so they're just getting off at London Bridge now, the Forest lot. Push everyone over this side and this side. Yeah, fine. It's to do 2 complete cars. Yeah, I think so. Just want to move away.
Is there a bump scare or something?
No, I wish it were that simple. No, it's just football supporters. Hello, Mick. Sounds like they've slipped out a side entrance here, mate. Yeah, we're not sure where they are. They're off the train. We're just trying to find them. Go on, you go through.
They haven't gone far. They gather in 2 pubs near the station. This is Millwall territory.
Even if all that actually happens is you get to their pub before they do, and by the time they arrive, there's 200 of you in there, and they can't get in, and the police don't let them in, then even though you haven't had a row, you've still had a bit of a result which you can laugh at.
The latest we've got at the moment is Millwall are still at or near the ground, and the plan is we will escort the Nottingham Forest supporters to South Bermondsey via London Bridge and then into the ground. All the time we've got the Forest together, we won't have a problem. Millwall's intention will be to get through the police lines and attack the Nottingham Forest supporters, and to a certain extent, I've no doubt Forest are considering the same.
Rival hooligan groups will go to great lengths to meet up and fight.
They ring each other up and they arrange things. They even talk to each other and signal each other across football grounds. You can see one hooligan leader in a football ground one side, another the other side, and then you'll look again and see them sat together.
Inside the Forest pub, Gary Clark seems to be reporting his contacts with Millwall supporters to his fellow Forest fans.
Just had a word with the governor here. They're not going to be allowed out now. They're not going to be allowed anything. They'll all be taken up together as a group. What I'd like to do is go in there with you and tell them. Will they be receptive to that?
Yeah, I don't think they know what's fucking happening. So.
All right, if we go in. I mean, we'll go whenever they want.
Some of these out here,
Yeah, well, no, yeah, all right. All right, chaps. Who can I speak to that's got and get a message round.
The Forest fans are taken with a massive police escort back to London Bridge for the short hop to South Bermondsey Station. So far there has been no trouble and no sign of any Millwall hooligans. It's only a quarter of a mile from the station to the ground.
With Millwall, it's like the same with West Ham and Cardiff and everyone living with a close proximity to the ground. That the whole neighbourhood can come out, the whole community comes out, and it's not like some of the other clubs where people have got to travel into it. At Millwall, the whole estate, will come out. Opposing firms, to get to the ground, have got to go through all the local estates and everybody's up for it.
There's a siege mentality at Millwall. Camera crews are not welcome. Fans feel the media have always unfairly portrayed their club.
Fucking bastards! Turn it off! Wait, turn it off! Turn the fucking off! Fuck off! Shit like that! Not fucking turn it off! Right? Oh, you're the fucking minded, are you? You cunt!
Millwall Football Club declined to cooperate with this programme, and we were not allowed to film in the stadium.
The game's almost finished now. From over this side, the Forest supporters will come out. What we're going to do, because it's been quite tense in there during the game, we'll be holding them back for a few minutes until let all the Millwall supporters out. They will go out that way, out onto the main road behind you and away. We will then clear the main road and take the Nottingham Forest supporters down to the station.
10 minutes before the final whistle, Millwall are losing 3-2. A group of Millwall fans have left early and are gathering near where the away supporters will exit the stadium. But in the last minute, Millwall equalise. Fans attack a police horse and start to throw missiles. They move towards the police lines. Video evidence is useful for making arrests.
Did you get anything earlier?
Yeah. They come up your own, all thrown from that in there.
Great.
Got quite a few in there, don't it?
How many do you think are hanging around?
Well, I would say there's a good 200 or 300 up there. There's some of the main lads up there as well. But I can see one or two faces already.
945. We're going to fucking march around and take the South Bermondsey. Yeah, and they're probably trying to hold us back. See what happens.
Once again, the mobile phones are busy.
Yeah. All you do is play it by now, same as us.
The police clear the road so they can assist the Forest fans to the trains. At South Bermondsey Station, trouble is brewing. As police clear the area, missiles begin to fly.
Got probably 1,000 Forest supporters going on to the station. And behind me we've got several hundred Millwall supporters intent on throwing bricks and bottles at them. It was a good game apparently. As you saw, we cleared the road. For some reason they just started throwing bricks and bottles at us. And I have no idea why it happens.
Come on, Millwall, don't run! We're Millwall!
As the Forest fans get onto the station platform, the Millwall hooligans try to break through and attack them.
From
Swans 2, India 99. You watching the pictures? Got a group of about 15 around that gate, giving it a good old go, trying to break through it.
With the Forest fans safely on the train, the older hooligans give up, leaving the younger ones to turn their attention to the police.
You received, we're looking at that now. We've got groups running around in the road under the bridge, and another group standing on the corner by the pub, over.
They are encouraged with an old terrorist song glorifying the small-time crook Harry Roberts, who murdered 3 policemen.
They're just trying to go around the back of them at the moment. I don't know if you're aware. Sorry? They're going around the back of them at the moment.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, all right. So as long as you're aware, I'm just letting them know to clock a couple and make sure we get them.
Control. Give us general.
The streets are finally cleared. The season is only 2 months old, yet this is already the 4th time there has been major disorder at Millwall.
We've tried everything. We've tried letting everyone out together. We've tried just a couple of PCs walking up the road. We've tried everything, and nothing works, and it always ends in exactly the same scenario. We can't give up on it, but it does make you want to give up.
Millwall has always had a poor reputation for football violence, but it's by no means alone. By the end of October, just a third of the way through the season, there have been 19 football-related incidents of violent disorder around the country.
It's difficult to say what attracts a large hooligan group from a particular club. Some of the problems are worse in the lower leagues than the higher leagues. There are certain small clubs that have bad hooligan groups, so they're more dangerous, some of the smaller club groups, than the larger club groups.
I had my experiences specifically with Stoke City, where it's a very tight firm that look after each other. There's a lot of respect and there's a lot of loyalty. Now, at the end of the day, the essence of what you're doing is going to a football match to get involved in a fight. And so the thing that you need to know most of all is that the people that you're with will look out for you and will be there.
The First Division derby between Walsall and Wolves. A group of 20 or 30 Wolves supporters are drinking in the town centre before the evening kick-off. West Midlands police seem to be taking a keen interest. In the corner of the pub is Stephen Powner. He was in Munich with Lenny, a top hooligan in the Wolves subway army. Quarter of an hour before kick-off, and small groups of Walsall and Wolves fans are roaming the streets.
Basically, if you're a proper football firm, what you want to do is find their football firm, their top boys, and fight them. No interest in punching somebody that's walking down the road with a rattle and a rosette on. All you're interested in is finding the people that are the same as you, that are there for the same reason, and going toe-to-toe with them.
Well, can you carry on walking down there?
Well, I wasn't walking down there, I was walking this way.
Well, you're walking down there.
Inadvertently, our undercover cameraman gets caught up with some Walsall fans. The police are keeping them away from the Wolves supporters who are further up the road. When there's a risk of violence, the police can issue a Section 60 order, which gives them the power to stop and search anyone for weapons.
No, we're not, no.
No?
You're not? OK, well, there's a Section 60 around here, right? Yes. Which means we can stop and search anybody. Yes. And we're going to search you under that power.
The problem is that if the officers find the secret filming equipment while the hooligans are still around, our team could be in extreme danger.
And it's recorded.
OK.
Luckily, they understand the situation and agree to do the search discreetly.
Just looks better as well if we're searching as well, that.
Of course, understandably.
5'10" here, 11.
Colours,
yeah.
brown, mousy brown.
Okay, this is your copy of the club search form. Okay, but it's got your details on there. The reason why you've been stopped. Okay, and my details on the bottom.
Okay,
right.
thank you very
Enjoy
much.
the rest of your evening.
Cheers.
Okay,
Thank you. Goodbye.
The game has now started, but still there are small groups wandering the streets.
You know, the most violent things are when you get little groups of like half a dozen of each team just bump into each other. They're the ones that get the right nasty things rather than the big, you know, hundreds and hundreds where the police are there, and you do get that fear because anything can happen.
You know what you've got to say now then, big man?
You what, mate?
Yeah, what you got to say? You come out with them lot there from that
Where'd you fucking...
It's Lenny and the Wolves firm.
Walsall boys, gobby fuckers.
Fuck off. We're
You
not
tend
with
to fuck
Wolves.
off.
No, sorry, mate.
Where are you from then?
You're from Wolves.
Let's have a look at your address then.
They mistake us for Walsall fans.
Bradford Hall, Walsall.
A bit of quick thinking, and Lenny seems flattered that we know him from the England game.
Where are you from then?
He's in forgiving mood.
No, we didn't, honest.
I'll see you later. Go on, enjoy yourself. Go on, enjoy yourself.
Lenny and the Wolves firm would turn out to be active throughout the season.
Walsall, aren't they?
Football hooligans like Lenny don't wear the colours of their team. They have their own dress code. Top designer labels: Burberry, Lacoste, Aquascutum, and above all, Stone Island. Sometimes the only clue to team allegiance is a tiny pin badge.
It's not about the actual fighting. There's more to it than that. It's a whole subculture of putting yourself on show, who's got the nicest clothes. People might deny it, but deep down, that's the truth. They know they wouldn't, you know, if their missus hid all their best clobber, there's no way they're going to go to the game in a Fruits of the Loom t-shirt. They just wouldn't.
If I knew that we were playing a particular game against a particular team or at a particular firm, in fact, really for any game, it would be as important for me to be better dressed than the opposition as turning out in big numbers.
People would sort of like go out and buy a new outfit for the game. It's almost like it was someone's wedding and you have to buy a new outfit for the day. You know, like women buy a new hat for a wedding. You know, guys go out and buy a new £400 jacket for Leicester away.
They invariably don't wear colours. It's only up until recently you would see many public houses, people with football colours not allowed entry. Well, actually, the reverse is the case now. At Cardiff recently, the pubs had signs saying nobody wearing Stone Island, Rockport or Lloyd or whatever will be allowed in. Because they identify the people who wear the shirts and scarves these days are going to the match to watch the football. The people who perhaps wear the other gear are going there for something else.
It's England versus Greece. England need at least a draw to qualify for the World Cup. And around the ground, the atmosphere is optimistic. But in the city centre, the reality is somewhat different. Police intelligence suggests that this fixture will attract the largest gathering of prominent football hooligans since Euro 2000. They're not here to fight the Greeks, they're here to fight each other.
Outside Sawyers is a group of Burnley, so we don't know at this stage whether it's for a confrontation or whether to meet up together. All right, bud.
DC Graham Norton coordinates intelligence on hooligans for the British Transport Police.
We've got Preston North End group have just arrived, and also within this vicinity is a group of Burnley. So obviously it would be advantageous if they didn't come together. We've got people from Manchester United, we've got Oldham, we've got Stoke City, we've got Huddersfield Town, we've got Shrewsbury. They're all people we thought would be here. They're known to a lot of our officers. They are here, and we're going to deal with it. What we think is that perhaps there will be attempts at some days at some time during the day for these groups to get together for the purposes of causing violence.
The police tactics are to swamp the city. There are more than 800 officers on duty. They stop and search hundreds of fans, most of them there just for the football.
Excuse me, mate. Can I have a word? Yes, sure. You'll probably be aware that, because there normally is when there's an England match, that there's a Section 60 in place. Have you got a ticket for the game?
I have, yeah.
You have? Can I just have a look?
Yep,
Yeah. Which team do you support?
Me, Preston.
OK, mate. Thanks. Sorry to be.
This supporter has no history of causing trouble, but the intelligence is still useful.
Shaking like a leaf.
Is he? I mean, the other lads, I didn't know the other group. I presume they're all Carnforth lads, because he's a Carnforth lad.
He said he's with 8 from Carnforth and Barrow.
Yeah.
When I walked onto the concourse and stood straight, he took a diversion so that he didn't have to walk past me. So I thought, well, let's have a look. So we'll be now passed into the system and monitored in the city.
The police tactics aren't popular among law-abiding fans.
I watch England everywhere, Munich, everywhere. And it doesn't matter what country you go in Europe, go anywhere in the world, and I don't take your liberties away. It's ridiculous. I mean, the security you got here, I mean, it's England-Greece. I mean, it's not even like a category, I mean, you know, it's not Germany. I mean, why all the hassle? I mean, why? That is to take away of your liberty. That's ridiculous. I mean, it's a game of football after all.
One of the crucial times is as the fans start moving towards the stadium. Then we could have a scenario dealing with what is left behind in the city who haven't got tickets for the game but are then intent on watching it on the TV, or if they have other motives.
In the city centre, police are suspicious of any large groups who haven't gone to the game, like these supporters from the Midlands. They are summarily rounded up and escorted to the station. The police are also concerned about another group drinking in the Shakespeare pub.
Can we go out now, mate? Not as far as I'm aware of, no.
Inside are 50 or 60 fans from Stoke City, a club whose supporters have one of the worst reputations for football violence in the country. They may be penned in by the police, but at least they can watch the match on TV. Half a mile away, tempers are fraying.
It's my day off. I'm going to watch a football match. And you won't let me do it, will you? We're stuck here like fucking animals, ain't we? So, why would we go home on trains? Yeah, let's go.
The 93rd minute at Old Trafford.
Beckham's last-minute free kick means England have qualified for the World Cup. With the game now over, the Stoke fans want to leave the Shakespeare. The police won't let them. Stoke resort to a favourite tactic. Trouble is now breaking out around the city. At another pub, Sheffield United hooligans have attacked the Oldham hooligan firm. Other clashes that evening involved Manchester United, Stoke City and Manchester City.
In effect, it is England hooligans versus England hooligans. The Northwest groups of hooligans were quite prominent throughout the day, as well as hooligan groups in the Midlands and London. So all the intelligence that suggested the possibility of trouble was in fact correct. So that, you know, for the level of policing to the outsider looking in was exceptionally large. It was probably just about proportionate to deal with the problem we had.
The British Transport Police alone will have spent £10 million policing football this season, and forces around the country at least 50 million more. Only a small proportion is paid for by football clubs.
It costs an absolute fortune, and the police resources that put into it is enormous. The whole of the policing operation around a football ground, with the exception of the odd traffic point, was all about monitoring hooligans. Nothing else. Stopping hooligan groups getting together and having a fight. That's where all the resources go.
A cold Thursday night in the West Midlands. The police are once again out in force, but for a much less glamorous fixture. The local rivalry between West Bromwich Albion, known as the Baggies, and Wolves is even more intense as the two clubs battle for promotion to the Premiership.
to get us underway, and we're off and running for this 148th derby meeting between the two teams. Sigurdsson heads it away. McInnes helps it on. Kennedy gets there. Swaps it to...
The game ends in a 1-1 draw. There have already been minor clashes between rival fans. The police have blocked the main road to keep the two sets of supporters apart as they leave the ground.
Possibility to get very badly hurt is always there. And in some cases people have been badly hurt. But that's all part of the gamble. That's all part of the buzz.
As the police try to hold back the Albion fans, we hear a voice we recognise. It's Lenny of the Wolves Subway Army.
The buzz is that point where the fear hits you and the adrenaline hits you like that. And the difference is whether it stuns you like a rabbit caught in the headlights, whether you take a hold of it and go, come on, let's go.
Albion fans break through the police line. In the confusion, it's not clear who's friend and who's foe. Our undercover cameraman is punched. Lenny is approached by a West Brom fan. He lies, then seconds later punches the unsuspecting man to the ground. The police draw batons to break up the rival fans. The local phone-in programme is dominated by the shocked reaction.
Just come out the ground and I'm with my mum and we just nearly got crushed, you know, because the police wouldn't let us pass them.
Well, we've just heard that there were kids, you know, crying and all sorts of things.
I mean, it's terrible.
I've got my son with me, absolutely petrified. The police have come charging towards us, batons drawn. They should just lock them in, like they do at the Molyneux. They keep in, it'll sit in there. They always have done for years.
By the new year, the midway point of the season, there had been 27 serious incidents of football-related violence at matches in all 4 divisions. A small number of dedicated hooligans orchestrate this violence. Mostly in their 30s and 40s, they've been active for years. Lenny is one of them. In his mid-30s, a father of 2, he's a petty criminal living off state benefits. He has a formidable record of football violence, including a conviction for spraying a police officer with CS gas. Although he's been banned in the past, Lenny is now free to attend football matches, including this season's friendly between England and Sweden.
I don't think you can stereotype them, but what you can say is that they come from all spectrums of society, from unemployed drug addicts right up to practicing solicitors.
Accountants, surveyors, brickies, roofers, lads that work on the city. There's no typical football firm, there's no typical football hooligan.
More often than not, working men. More often than not, family men. More often than not, throughout the normal week, outwardly perfectly normal law-abiding citizens.
The only thing that we all have in common is that we love football and we like a row. That's basically it.
Millwall versus Portsmouth in the First Division, 2 clubs with significant hooligan firms. 9 years ago, Millwall moved to a modern all-seater stadium in Bermondsey. Football clubs have gone a long way towards stamping out the violence in the grounds. Mass brawls on the terraces have become a thing of the past. These days, football violence takes a very different form.
I know people that regularly used to go on reconnaissance missions weeks before the away fixture so that they would know what pubs were there, the layout of the streets around the ground.
Groups travelling to away games, they'd have road maps, like mobile phones, they'd just organise in a different way. They'd send decoys off to send the police off on wrong routes, and then call the other firm and arrange the venue. And there's a great cooperation between two different hooligan firms that want to fight each other.
And often the chosen venue is nowhere near the stadium. By 5 o'clock, the Portsmouth hooligans were in a pub near Waterloo Station, 3 miles from Millwall's ground.
I thought it was 2 Christmas parties coming in, and there was so many guys in the pub at the time. So I started asking a few guys, "Are you from the Christmas party, or who are you?" And they said Portsmouth. So I says, "Oh, there's something going to kick off here." So I seen more people coming in, seen more people on mobile phones, the whole lot, and then I went, there's something going to happen. And then all of a sudden, I heard a charge at the front door, and I turned around and I seen guys just running in the front door over there. You hear lads charging with tables and stools and chairs, but all I could hear was glass smashing. It was just mayhem. I thought it was the end of the world.
You've got ordinary members of the public having just left work, going to the station, and they're watching 100 people fighting in and around a pub. I mean, what's that all about?
Before kick-off, news of the fight near Waterloo Station has spread.
How much are they, mate?
£2 each.
Portsmouth fans haven't yet arrived at the ground.
Must be aware with a load of pumping coming down shortly.
Is that what's happening?
Yeah, kicked off for Waterloo an hour ago.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, chuck it then. Cheers, mate.
Good, mate, thank you.
The lower west stand at the Den, where many of the Millwall hooligans sit. The Portsmouth supporters are kept at a safe distance.
Dogs! All of you! Fucking lads! We've done you so many times!
There can be a very hostile atmosphere, but I don't think that's unique to Millwall. That is football to a certain extent. You can get a great atmosphere down there when the team are playing well, but people have to appreciate that there is a boundary which they shouldn't cross.
Most of the hooligans would feel that the old days were the best days. Since the influx of like foreign players and all the money that was generated from Sky and the televised games, it's a whole new breed of football fan has been introduced to the game. I mean, the corporate people, families. I mean, it's a sad day when you start getting families and that at football. It never used to be like that. It used to be a male-only thing where you could go away and vent your anger over the weekend. And now it's like kids with, you know, ice creams and funny hats and wigs and stuff like that. In the old days, it was just much more fun. I think the reason you get some of these big firms with the perceived smaller clubs are because they haven't attained success to the level where outside money comes in and corporate, you know, investment comes in and ruins the club. And I think that's why you get some of the most violent firms at the old style of clubs.
Millwall win 1-0. In spite of the vicious chanting, there is no violence in the ground. The club has already banned well over 100 troublemakers.
The club are banning them for life, and we're trying to enforce that. The manager and the owner, the chairman, have been in the press and in the local programme saying that if the disorder and the missile throwing carries on, then they would resign.
The trouble that takes place outside the ground goes largely unreported and unseen by the public. The vast majority of Millwall fans go home peacefully, but several hundred hooligans follow their familiar post-match ritual and wait for the Portsmouth fans. While they wait, they abuse black and Asian passers-by.
that cunt! Shoot that nigger! Get out of my shot!
Around the corner, they find another target.
Postman's car! Postman's car! Set on fire!
There's something wrong with a lot of you. You ain't no football supporters, you're fucking animals. You don't support. Look, they're kicking people's cars in. People's cars in. They're Millwall supporters' cars. I'm your picnic. I'm living here with my baby. I don't need respect. Imagine if it was outside your fucking mother's house. Imagine it, eh? Would you put up with it? No. Sort your fucking selves out.
A Portsmouth supporter has unwisely squeezed through police lines to try and get back to his car. The man was rescued by passers-by and, as far as we know, suffered no serious injury and got home safely. Police have arrested more than 40 people for the violence at Millwall this season. Most of them were between 14 and 18 years old.
Every firm, like any organisation, will have younger guys that want to become involved in that. They basically rise through the ranks. It's an ongoing thing, and that's one of the reasons why it's a very difficult thing for anybody to try and stamp out.
Ultimately, you need to arrest the ringleaders and the foot soldiers as well. You need to get in there and get evidence against the people that are organising it, and that could be done reasonably easily. It just needs the will and the money to do it.
England have already qualified for the World Cup, so it's time for another friendly, this time against the Dutch. At English ports and airports, a major operation has been launched to prevent the hooligans from travelling. Apart from a few minor incidents, most of the fans seem intent on enjoying the pleasures of Amsterdam. It's a time for renewing old acquaintances.
How you doing, man?
It's Carl from Birmingham.
Yeah, very good, man.
He threw bottles at the police before the England-Germany game in Munich. Next morning, we catch up with Stuart from Newcastle.
Stewie, how you doing, mate? We met in Munich.
He was at the forefront of the violence outside the Schiller Cafe.
Remember, football, yes, violence, no.
Even more worrying for the authorities is the presence among the gathering England fans of Lenny from the Wolves subway army. Although police have new powers to prevent hooligans from travelling, Lenny and many others have once again slipped through the net. But Lenny hasn't had everything his own way. Earlier in the season, he was arrested in a dawn raid for alleged violent disorder at a football match.
You Wolves? Oh, mate, I'm Villa. They're reading about you Wolves, lads, in the Evening Mail, dawn raids and all that. You didn't, did you?
Lenny seems confident, however, that he will escape the charges.
Oh, we'll get away with it, we've got nothing on it.
We learned a month later that all charges against Lenny had been dropped. The football season is nearing its end, and Millwall are still chasing promotion to the Premiership. It's been a long year for Neil McPherson. Millwall's visitors today are Wolves. Among the 4,000 travelling fans, This coach attracts particular attention. It contains Lenny and the Wolves firm. At the last meeting between the sides, 2 of the Wolves firm were stabbed by Millwall hooligans. Today, more than 300 officers are on duty, the biggest police presence of the entire season. A penalty for Millwall in the second half wins the game, and 3 more potentially vital points. The sheer numbers of police prevents any clashes between Millwall and Wolves hooligans. So instead, with depressing predictability, some Millwall supporters attempt to attack the away fans as they're taken to the station. The violence at Millwall has persisted through the season, but the problem is nationwide. This season, there have been more than 50 major incidents of football-related violence around the country. Few clubs can claim to have no hooligan problem.
People who deal with football all the time are well aware that every single week there are many violent incidents that are attributed to football fans. So anyone who thinks that football violence is not alive and flourishing are living with a myth, I'm afraid.
If the FA acknowledge it, the Football League acknowledge it, and the press publish what is really going on, then somebody has to do something about it. And if you're going to do something about it, it's going to cost a lot of money. And that money will have to come from television revenue. And that will be taking money out of the pockets of the clubs and the FA and the Football League.